Hello, this is John Paval with Access Arts Live. It's Monday. It's 6 o'clock in Europe. It's noon on the East Coast in the US. It's 9 in the morning on the West Coast. That means it's time for the weekly roundup, which once again this week is going to be divided up between opera and orchestral works and chamber music as two separate live streams. Because if I put them all together, there's just too much information to put in the comment section. The dates, times, and links, it won't fit in on some of the platforms where we're live streaming. So let's get right to this week's orchestral works and opera coming out on Sunday. This is the first opera of the fall season, I think, that we're going to have for you. So before I get going, I want to remind you, so if you like these videos, subscribe to us on Facebook if that's where you watch us. We'd really like it if you'd subscribe to us on YouTube, because we'd like to build up the YouTube subscribers. You can watch us there, get notifications of us there, and we might even get monetized. So if you've been following us somewhere else, do please wander over to YouTube and give us a little like and a subscribe and a notifications thing. Anyway, okay. I want to remind you that earlier this week on Tuesday and Wednesday, we have chamber music galore, which is going to be going on. And I can just mention to you a couple of the things that are going to be going on so that you know to tune in to the chamber music roundup in a second. St. Mary's Perival is live streaming Connor Hirati on the piano. He's a great pianist. The Canadian Music Center is live streaming Catherine Dowling playing the music of composer Alice P. Ho. That's on Tuesday in the evening. The St. Mary's is on Tuesday in the afternoon in Europe time. On Wednesday, the Peggy Rockefeller concerts are live streaming a cello piano duo. And on Thursday again, St. Mary's Perival is live streaming a great duo between Yukiko Ishibashi and Yuki Negishi on violin and piano. And the hits just keep coming. You know, there's something to tune into to come back, because I'm going to do a separate live stream when I'm done with this one for the chamber music offerings. Okay, Thursday is the first orchestral works we have for you. It's the Bergen Philharmonic doing Carmina Burana, among other things, by Karl Orff. It's free of charge. It's at 7:25 European time, 1:25 in the afternoon on the East Coast, 10:25 in the morning, a nice late morning Carmina Burana for those of you on the West Coast. They'll be starting out doing Berlioz's Queen Mab scherzo from Romeo and Juliet. And then they are going to do a bassoon concerto, the world premiere of it, by Olaf Berg. I'll tell you a little bit about him. And then they will do the Carmina Burana. The conductor is Aziz Shokakimov. And Shokakimov is the chief conductor and music director at the Strasbourg Phil, but he's also conducted the Wiener Symphony, the Orchestra of the Swiss Romande, the Swedish Radio Symphony, the RAI in Turin. I sang with the choir once. He's sung the Tokyo and Seoul Phils, the Bayerische Staatsoper, the Opera Nationale de Paris, and it's good he has this kind of musical, this opera background, because the Carmina Burana has singing in it. Now, the singer is Sarah Aristidou. I have a photo of her for you. Hold on, I put it up for you, and then it came back down. This is Sarah Aristidou. She's a soprano. Give you an idea of the kind of singing she does. You don't get to see the pictures on Instagram, because they make it too hard for me to give you my multi-platform stream. So this is streaming separately on my phone. To give you an idea of what she's like as a soprano, what she's been doing, like just this month of September, she was at the Lucerne Festival. She was at Wigmore Hall doing a prelude to Arnold Schoenberg's 150th birthday. She was singing at the Konzerthaus in Berlin, where the program included Nono's Como una ola de fuerza y luz and Mahler's Symphony No. 4. She's relatively young. She's been getting things like newcomer awards in 2023. But I think it should be very interesting to hear her, that kind of youthful dynamism she can bring to it in the Carmina Burana. Now, then the next, but the other thing I want to talk to you about is Olaf Berg. Here's a picture of Olaf Berg. I mean, if that is not a Norwegian composer, a distinguished Norwegian composer, the guy's about 75 years old. He's born in 1949. He's from the small village of Kvalda up there in Norway. I spent a lot of time in Stockholm, so I know a little bit about Norwegians, kind of have a Swedish attitude towards them too. But anyway, he specializes in writing for wind instruments. They say probably because when he was in the Navy, he played the trumpet in the Navy orchestra, the Norwegian. So he's written a lot of concertos for trumpet, clarinet, and bassoon and wind groups. His best known composition was composed way back in 1982. It's called Poseidon. His most recent well-known work, or better-known work, is he composed in 2015. He composed a viola concerto. But this is a bassoon concerto, which will be played by the principal bassoonist of the Bergen, Phil Dag Jensen, who also has something of an international reputation. So that's the first thing that we have for you this week, and it's free of charge. Then also on Thursday, if you want to spend some money, Stage Plus is live streaming the Czech Philharmonic playing Dvořák's piano concerto, which is not played all that often, and is played by Daniil Trifonov, who I'll tell you a little bit more about him. And then they will, in the second half of the program, they'll do Berlioz's fantastic Symphonie Fantastique, which actually means a fantastic symphony. Daniil Trifonov, we were telling you about him back in August because he was touring down in Australia and New Zealand. He did an appearance with the New Zealand Symphony Orchestra, and he did a solo appearance down in Australia, I think to promote his new album that just came out in August called My American Story, which it shows you the openness of the guy. It's got piano concertos on it by Gershwin and Mason Bates, but it's also got his adaptations of soundtracks to American Beauty and The Firm, two Hollywood movies. It's got he plays John Adams' China Gates. He plays music by John Corigliano and John Cage. And he also he does his own transcriptions of Art Tatum's I Cover the Waterfront and Bill Evans's When I Fall in Love. Anyway, he's a heck of a guy, and so I think that will be a very interesting concert. I could tell you a lot more about him, but I think you know enough. Okay, so now, then we move on to, and wait, let me give you the times on that. That is at almost the same time as the Bergen Phil. It's at 7:30 European time, 1:30 in the afternoon on the East Coast, 10:30 in the morning on the West Coast. We give you the link. You can get a 1 week subscription to Stage Plus for €9.90, which is about $11. And since they will be doing a second concert next Tuesday, if you buy the subscription like on Friday, you'll get 2 concerts out of it. So your real cost will be like $4.50 or something like that, or $5. Okay, next coming up, we move to. Got to scroll down here. I have notes. I don't have all this memorized, you know. Now, this is a great one. The Detroit Symphony Orchestra is back up and running. They do about 20 live streams a year. They've been doing it for a decade. I mean, it's just terrific, and it's high quality music. This is Friday at 8 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time. So now we're in prime time here for you Americans who may be following us. 8 o'clock Eastern Time, 5 o'clock on the West Coast, 2 in the morning in Europe. But I think it's worth staying up for on a Friday night. And a lovely 10 o'clock in the morning down under in Australia, Saturday morning. This is a Gershwin and jazz program, and they have brought in to do it Branford Marsalis. Okay, let me give you a picture here. I've got pictures lined up here of Marsalis and Jader Bignamini over there on the right in that photo, because Many of you may only know Branford Marsalis as he's a jazz musician. Yeah, he's composed for films and for Broadway too. But no, he's also a soloist. He does some touring with a chamber music group, which is called the Orpheus Chamber Orchestra. And also with the City Chamber Orchestra of Hong Kong and the Chamber Orchestra of Philadelphia. And he's got a classical repertoire that covers everything from Debussy to Ibert to Milo to Ned Rorem, the inimitable. I love Ned Rorem. I've sung some Ned Rorem songs, Early in the morning of a lovely summer's day, etc., etc. But anyway, that's not my real tenor voice there. I mean, I'm talking here. Anyway, so he's paired off here with Jader Bignamini, who's recently become the music director and chief conductor at the Detroit Symphony. And Bignamini, I mean, he just hauls. Now, very often, if he's doing symphonic works, what Bignamini does is he knows the score by heart because he wants to be able to make eye contact at all times with his people. And you see, here's the thing. To create the best art, you're not playing it. You're not doing it. You're living it. You're living it. So if you could just throw away the sheet music and live it through whichever part yours is, whether it's the saxophone or it's the conducting, you're living that music. And then and that's what Bignamini does. Last spring, we were telling you about he did a live stream with the great the Slavic violinist Radulovic, and it was fireworks. I mean, these guys were feeding off each other. It was great. So what he'll do with Bignamini is, the sky's the limit. Okay, so what are they playing? All right, they're going to play Joan Towers' Fanfare for the Uncommon Woman, number 6, which of course is a takeoff on the title anyway, on Aaron Copland's Fanfare for the Common Man. Erwin Schulhoff's Hot Sonat, Gershwin's Cuban Overture, Darius Milhaud's Scaramouche, and Bernstein's 3 dance episodes from On the Town. And then they will, in the second half of the program, they'll be doing Gershwin's An American in Paris. Now, I don't know to what extent that Branford Marsalis is playing on all of them, but I suspect he's playing on more than just one of these pieces. So anyway, I think that'll be a great one, and that's free of charge. Now, if you don't want that free of charge, well, I guess you can find something to pay for. But that's what we have for you on Friday night. Now on Saturday night, the Berlin Philharmonic is doing another live stream. This is a genuine live stream, not one of their premieres that they try to sell to you as if it were real. And they're doing a French evening with the conductor Juanjo Mena and the harpist Marie-Pierre Langlamé. Marie-Pierre Langlamé is she's French. And all I need to hear from her is this. This is what she says on her website. There are no dividing lines between sound and silence on the harp. Okay, well, then I want to hear what you have to play. She was born in Grenoble. She's older. She was born in Grenoble in 1967. No, so I guess she's late 50s. Went to the conservatory in Nice, and while she was still there, she got hired as the principal harp with the Orchestra de l'Opéra de Nice, the Nice Opera Orchestra, 17 years old. This is back in 1984. Then she goes to the U.S., studies at the Curtis Institute of Music in Philadelphia, and while she's there, she gets hired by the New York Metropolitan Opera Orchestra as an assistant principal harp. Fast forward to 1992, she wins first prize at the prestigious International Harp Competition in Israel, and the next year she gets hired by the Berlin Phil and never looks back. She's been the principal harp soloist with the Berlin Phil since 1993. She's played everything. She's played it everywhere. She's played around with all the major orchestras in the world. She's been named a Chevalier dans l'Ordre des Arts et des Lettres, which is a big deal in France. You know, it's like these titles they give out in England. And she teaches at the Karajan Academy and the Berlin University of the Arts. What are they going to be performing, John? Yeah, they're going to do Gabriel Piernet's Ramuncho, which is Basque music. It's an overture based on Basque music, which is probably going to be pretty cool. Then there'll be Germaine Taillefer's Concertino for harp and orchestra, and that is where Marie-Pierre Langlamé gets to shine. And here she is. Look at that look in her eyes. I just think she's terrific just looking at her, just coming in the door. And with her experience and all of that, I mean, come on. You don't want to hear that? I don't know what to tell you if you're not, really hot to hear that. Okay, so we have one more piece for you then, and then afterwards, after Marie Pierre Langlamé thrills us with the concertina for harp and orchestra, they'll be playing Maurice Ravel's Daphnis and Chloe in 3 parts, and the Rundfunk Choir of Berlin will be singing in that performance. Then, last but not least, Sunday, 7:30 in the evening, European time, 1:30 in the afternoon, Sunday afternoon on the East Coast, 10:30 in the morning on the West Coast. The Hungarian State Opera does something interesting for Americans, Nixon in China by Adam, composed back in 1987, at a time when Nixon was hated by everybody. We'll give you the links to the 2 singers who are the main singers in this production. The guy who's singing, Karoli Zemeredi, who's singing Nixon. This is a photo. It's not from his playing Nixon, but boy, you take one look at that guy, and okay, yeah, that could be a Nixon in China. And then beside him is Clara Kolonitz. I mean, it just seems to me she could make an ideal Pat Nixon. I mean, just those 2 photos are enough. Semeredi has sung around in an awful lot of places. He was born in 1979, so he's 40-some years old. He's sung with the Opera Bastille, the National Taichung Theater, the Hungarian State Opera is where he's regularly installed. He's sung Bluebird and Bluebird's Castle at the Opera de Lyon. He sung Orestes and Electra with the Bavarian Staatsoper. So he's been around. Clara, most of her career has been almost exclusively in Hungary. So that's what we have for this week. We're already up to almost 18 minutes, almost 20 minutes. There's no way I could give you all the chamber music that's on. That's going to be another 15, 20-minute thing if I tell you anything about it. And I don't want to just recite, here are the names and times. I could give you that in print. So that's what we have this week. Like us, subscribe to us on YouTube if you want to be kind to me, and if you like listening to me. And I'll be back in about 10 minutes or so to do the weekly roundup of the chamber music. I mean, which is likely to be just as long. There's a lot going on. So I'm very happy about that. Now what we need to do is bring more of the global audience to enjoy these things. They're putting it out there for us. Half of the stuff I'm talking to you about is free of charge. Let's bring the millions who love the performing arts to them, so we're all sharing this and being inspired and uplifted together at the same time. Ciao for now.